Have you ever noticed how reality rarely matters on its own? How what actually happens is often irrelevant compared to how it appears to have happened. Two people can experience the same event. One walks away respected, the other is dismissed. Nothing objective changed, only perception did. And that difference decides outcomes. This is uncomfortable to accept because we are taught to believe that truth speaks for itself, that facts eventually win, that reality asserts itself if you simply wait long enough. But history, psychology, and everyday life tell a different story. Reality does not speak. Perception speaks for it. And whoever controls that voice controls everything that follows. This video is not about deception. It is about understanding the structure you are already living inside. Because whether you participate consciously or unconsciously, appearances are shaping your life right now. From a very early age, you are trained to trust what you see, to believe that what presents itself openly is what is. But the human mind does not experience reality directly. It filters, interprets, frames, and fills in gaps. What you perceive is already an edited version. This is not a flaw. It is how cognition works. The brain is not designed to discover truth. It is designed to create coherence. And coherence favors appearances. We prefer what feels consistent, familiar, and emotionally reassuring over what is accurate but destabilizing. This is why first impressions are so powerful. Why reputations persist long after they should have collapsed. Why people defend narratives even when evidence contradicts them. Reality is complex. Appearances are simple. And simplicity is persuasive. This is why appearances always move faster than truth. Truth requires attention, patience, and discomfort. Appearances require only recognition, a glance, a feeling, a story that fits what we already believe. Most people are not lying when they defend appearances. They are protecting psychological stability. To accept that reality differs from what appears would require reevaluating identity, choices, loyalties, and self-image. That cost feels too high. So the illusion stays. Centuries ago, philosophers understood this deeply. They observed that people do not follow truth. They follow what seems right, strong, familiar, or socially rewarded. One thinker in particular made this observation with brutal clarity. Appearances do not supplement reality, they replace it. People judge outcomes, not intentions. They remember impressions, not processes. They respond to symbols, not substance. This is not cynicism. It is pattern recognition. And once you see this pattern, you begin to understand why appearances dominate power, relationships, reputation, and influence. Consider how quickly perception forms. A single gesture, a pause, a tone of voice, a moment of silence. Before facts arrive, meaning has already been assigned. This is why explanations often fail. By the time you explain yourself, perception has already solidified. And explanation, ironically, often weakens authority rather than restoring it. Because explanation signals uncertainty. It signals need. It signals reaction. And reactions feed perception. Notice how people who appear calm are assumed to be in control. How people who hesitate are assumed to be hiding something. How silence is interpreted as confidence or guilt, depending on the frame already set. The same behavior, different perception, different outcome. Reality did not change. The frame did. This is why appearances matter more than reality. They decide the frame through which reality is interpreted. And once the frame is set, reality is forced to conform to it. This dynamic governs social life, professional life, emotional life. People who appear composed are trusted even when they are wrong. People who appear uncertain are doubted even when they are right. People who appear powerful are treated as such long before any power is exercised. People who appear weak are constrained without resistance. This happens automatically. No conspiracy required. The mind fills in blanks, and it fills them in with assumptions that preserve order. That is why most people do not seek to change reality. They seek to control appearances. And often, they don't even know they're doing it. They mirror confidence. They signal virtue. They perform certainty. Not because they are malicious, but because they are human. This creates a quiet hierarchy. Those who understand appearances and those who are governed by them. Those in the first group do not shout. They do not over-explain. They do not rush to correct every misunderstanding. They allow perception to settle, because they understand that intervention often collapses authority. Those in the second group react constantly. They correct, defend, clarify, protest, explain, and in doing so, they surrender the frame. This is where things become uncomfortable. Because the more you insist on being understood, the less authority you appear to have. The more you chase clarity, the more unstable you seem. This does not mean truth is worthless. It means truth without perception is powerless. Think about how quickly reputations form. One moment of composure can outweigh years of competence. One moment of emotional reaction can overshadow countless achievements. This is not fair, but it is consistent. And consistency is what power runs on. The mind uses shortcuts. It must. There is too much information otherwise. These shortcuts are not logical. They are emotional, symbolic, and social. We trust what looks stable. We follow what looks certain. We obey what looks legitimate, even if it isn't. This is why people defend appearances long after they fail, because abandoning them would mean admitting that they were wrong, not just about the situation, but about themselves. And the ego resists that at all costs. Once you understand this, a subtle shift occurs. You stop reacting so quickly. You stop explaining so much. You stop fighting every misinterpretation. Not because you don't care, but because you see how perception operates. And you begin to act differently. You begin to recognize when silence communicates more than words, when distance increases value, when restraint creates authority. You stop collapsing the frame by emotional overexposure, and this unsettles people, because they are used to controlling outcomes through your reactions. When you stop feeding perception with predictable responses, the narrative destabilizes. People project, they speculate, they reveal themselves. And in that space, you gain clarity. This is the paradox. By doing less, you appear stronger. By speaking less, you are heard more. By explaining less, you are understood more, or at least respected. Not because you manipulated anything, but because you stopped sabotaging perception with unnecessary reaction. This does not mean becoming cold. It means becoming selective. It means understanding that attention is energy, and energy shapes perception. When you give it freely, it loses value. When you guard it, it creates gravity. Eventually, something deeper happens. You stop needing appearances to validate you. And ironically, that is when they begin to work in your favor. The people who rely on appearances to control you become uneasy. They test boundaries. They provoke. They search for reactions. And when none come, the illusion breaks. Because perception requires participation, and you've withdrawn yours. At this point, you are no longer reacting to the world's narrative. You are observing it. And observation is power. This is where many turn back, because standing outside perception is lonely. You are misunderstood. You are labeled distant, arrogant, changed. But what has really changed is this. You no longer confuse appearances with reality. You see them as tools, not truths. And once you see that, you cannot unsee it. Reality remains important. Truth remains meaningful. But perception decides which ones survive. The question is no longer whether appearances matter more than reality. They do. The question is whether you will continue being ruled by appearances you don't control, or whether you will learn to navigate them consciously. Not to deceive, not to dominate, but to remain sovereign. Because in a world governed by perception, the most dangerous person is not the loudest. It is the one who understands the illusion and no longer reacts to it.